So hey guys, welcome to my shed build, and this is what it looks like before, and this is what it's going to be looking like when it's done. And it's, you know, an ongoing project, so it'll probably take a while longer before I get the lawn and everything fixed up. And before we get going, the first thing I need to do is I'm going to have to remove the dead tree, and that's a bit of work because I need to get the ground level and actually a bit lower behind it, so, and around it. So I'm using my mini loader there to level off the ground. There's a bit of work moving the earth and, you know, cutting the roots, cutting through the roots. Take the tree down, move the tree, and then we're going to have to stump grind it. So once I've stump ground it down, took it down as low as possible, I did realise that even the roots are going to be in the way of the footings there, so a bit of digging around. Now levelling the ground, once it's levelled, I'm going to blind it over here with some 20mm shingle, and then I'm going to level it off and blind it back over with some sand, some builder's sand.
In the corners we've got some pads here in the corners, and you can see the depth of the outer footing, which is supposed to be 200 by 200, but it's more like 200 by 400. Shutted it out, boxed it out, ready to go for the concrete. I've put some road gravel down and some sand down over the top of the road gravel to bring the height for the centre up a little bit here and there. You can see the lines are running from one side to the other, and I've set them all level, so everyone's perfectly level. And along the way, every 3 metres or so, I've put in a rebar, bit of steel into the ground, tap that into the line length, height for the level. So I've done that for a couple of reasons really. One is so that I can now take this sand down to get down to my level of 100mm or 4 inches, and the second one is so that when the concrete comes, I've got my screeding points. My points are there for my screeding. I can screed up to these stills knowing that they're level, and then I can either pull them out or tap them right into the ground. Yeah, there you go. So we can see that that's bang on level as well.
Properly, as it were. So that's me taking it down now to the spot on 4 inches. So 100mm, so that's 4 inches of concrete.
We've got the damp-proof membrane down, we've got our plastic sheeting down. We've got our steel mesh, our steel mesh is in. I'm now wiring this together. Then we're going to put our rebar in around our stress points, which will be all 4 corners, and any stress points up the front, such as the door areas.
And that's it, an aerial view, so you can see the size of the project there. There's about 110 metres. That's my concreter, my youngest daughter. She's 19 here, she's just about to lay this concrete for me. And her and the missus. So there she goes, works like a Trojan horse. And now we're putting it all up, so all I've got is that scaffold tower, which I should have tied off onto me mini loader really. And it's not very heavy, this steel work actually. This truecore steel's quite lightweight, and just build it up and lift it up in sections, and goes up pretty quick, pretty easy. I would definitely consider building a house with this, especially as that's an open roof inside, so there's nothing inside running across, as it were, sort of ceiling joists or anything like that. So I'm marking off my roof sheets for my ridge capping, and I'm now cutting it with a nibbler, but you don't have to use a nibbler. Most professionals would use snips for this. It's just that I've got a nibbler handy. So now we're taking up our builder's sheeting and start the cladding. Cladding's going up pretty fast. It's pretty quick and easy.
So once you've levelled your first board off, you can put your second board on. Made these little spacers, and make a couple of them, 2 or 3 of them, and you can sit your board on there. And that will leave you hands free then to do your drilling, and you can just literally slide it out after. So we'll give you a little close up on that. So you can see what it is. It's a spacer, side on. It sits on top of the board. like so, and then the next board you put on, sit on there, like so. We've taken our lines round so our boards continue that line going round.
Cutting the cladding. The cladding is made of cement board. It cuts very easy with a skill saw and also a hand saw. Be sure to use a square, measure twice and cut once to save making any mistakes, because it is quite expensive. And once you've done that, you'll be ready for painting. I'm spraying these boards, but you might prefer to paint them with a roller or a brush. It'll probably be just as quick. I haven't got any neighbours around me, so it's pretty simple. Putting up the plaster boards, tape and jointing, insulating as I go. So insulation, cut the boards, upper level, insulation, cut the boards, upper level, and everything should come together nicely, and then tape and joint everything once it's taped and joint and ready for plastering and painting.
So I'm going to build a set of barn doors, not actually one big barn door, but we're going to fill that opening there, that door opening, with a sliding barn door, but it's actually going to be a double sliding barn door, but they're both going to slide to the left. So then we've got a pedestrian way if we want, just a pedestrian door. So this is the door that we're going to be building. We're going to build two of these, and we're going to rebate the openings so they actually close nice and tight with no drafts and gaps between them. When they close, slide together. So there's going to be two of them sliding off. So the first thing we need to do is prepare our timber. We've got a thickness of planer here, so we're going to plane it down, get it all the same thickness. It's come straight in at 45 thick. This is 140 by 45, and we've got a 190 by 45, and then we've got some ply for the panelling, but we'll check the wood over first of all. But this particular piece is too far gone. This is all very cheap construction timber we're using, by the way, so we'll see. We'll see what we can get out of it. We'll plane it down. That's a little bit better. It's still got a bit of a bend in it, but that might do for a brace. We'll see. Construction timber. It's got that lines, etc. on it, so we're going to plane it down, get all these timbers the same size, and do the best we can with it, really. So I'm cutting everything oversized at the moment, so that later on we can trim it down to size. So all the timber's been planed back. It's all going to be sanded down, obviously, yet that's going to be our final finishing. Before we do that, I'm going to set everything out, square everything up, mark everything out on this sheet of ply. We're going to be using the sheet of ply as an infill later, and we've got our distance across, and we've got our height. We've got to trim off some timber yet, so it's always, when you're planing, you always get a few marks on the edges of your timbers, so it's a good idea to always have more than what you need, and then you can just cut off, do a final cut as and when you need it. That's what we're going to be doing now. So these are my two right styles. See, I've marked them all out, so 2 doors, 2 right styles. So I'm making 2 at the same time, 2 mortises at the top. That's for my centre rail, and the mortises here for the bottom rail.
So I've cut the middle mortises out already, and now I've made this rebate jig. So it's a little jig. You can get this plans for this on YouTube anywhere. There's all different types, and that's just for rebating out, ready for the sheeting.
And check that it's going to fit in and not be too tight. You don't want it too tight. You want to be able to move it about, because when you go to put all this together, if it's too tight, it will be hard work. Okay, so once I've cut my mortises out, I will then mark up my tenons to the line. So if I cut just to the line, down to the line, so the line disappears, that tenon should fit in there just snugly, hopefully. We shall see. When you want to cut your tenons for your mortises, so you've got your mortise and tenons, so there's your mortise, and for this one, for example, I want to set the depth of the cut for the tenon. So I'm using a Tenon Template rig, which is made up of this 6mm ply. So I've got a piece of 6mm ply here. I put that over the top of the mortise, and then we can set the depth of the bit up and down, adjust that until we are happy with the amount that it's going to take off. That actually looks like it's a little bit too deep. It's going to cut too much off, so I'm going to adjust it. So you can see I'm going to adjust the amount it's going to take off, and I'd rather take off not enough and then just take the rest off with a scraping of a chisel if I need to. Little contraption here is a little bit of just pinned a piece of ply onto the top of a bit of ply, squared off a piece of timber, lock it on, and that is now a tenon jig. So for mortises and tenons, we've got a mortise jig, and we've now got this tenon jig that's adjustable. I can centre it up onto my line and lock him off. Now, because I'm having quite a large tenon, the last thing I need is to have the router dropping down. So what I'm going to do is use that same bit of board I used earlier on, just put it on the edge here, and I'm just going to fix it on here. It just gives me a nice little line. Run down, you'll see in a second. The reason I've put these bolts in along here is because of the weight of the doors, and the steelwork I'm using is going to be heavy duty. These are heavy duty doors running through here, and here's my steelwork that I've got to cut and fix. This opening here is the doors that we're going to be making today. This might look like the actual door, but this is not the door. This is a bench I've made together out of some old sleepers, and we've got some decorating tables that the sleepers are all sitting on, and I've put some support legs under to help support the weight because it's very heavy. But what I've done is made a frame. It's a bit like a big picture frame. This frame I've made to the size of the door, which is 2.4 metres by 2.4 metres. Then we square all of our corners up. So with 2.4 metres across, 2.4 metres up, we've got straight pieces of timber. We run our baseline across here, so this is going to be the bottom of the door, make a centre point. We then run up the side here, we square this off. To make a square, we use the rule of 3, 4, 5. So we come across 3, a measurement of 3, whether it's 3 metres or whether it's 3 feet or 3 yards or multiples of 3. So it could be 6, 12, 18, and then we go up the side here, multiples of 4, and then the distance between the top of there and the end of here should be 5, measurements of 5. And then we can adjust to make it square. Then we do the same with the other side. We get a perfect square. So you can see what I've done is I've made a centre stile. This is a centre stile, and this is a copy of the centre stile. So join everything up, and what we've got is the same. So what we've got is the same markings run right the way through, the tenons at the ends. So the 2 doors, so these are 2 centre stiles that are exactly the same. And then here's the left hand stile over on the other side, the right hand stile, and we'll cut them as well, all the same. So now we've got our preparation, we've got our bench prepared. We've got our timber prepared, so basically the timber is real cheap timber, and it's just been planed down. We planed down the timber to get the right sizes, and also just to finish it off nicer, so it makes it easier to sand. And then we're ready to go. So let's lay everything out now. And basically what I've done, there's our left stile, and I mark out the stiles, left, centre, right. This is our centre stile. We've got a mark at the top for the centre, we've got a mark on the timber here for the centre, and a mark on our bench for the centre where it's going to go. We line that up, job done. Now, the right stile. So this is the right hand stile. Push him in, nice and tight. So there's our 3 stiles. Now, we start bringing our rails over. Yep. So lay everything out. So you want to lay everything out in position. There you go, so you know where it's all going to go. Oh, there's a nasty bend in that rail there. And here's our bottom rail. So, mortising and tenon the joints. So the mortises have been cut, and now you see the line running along the edge of the stile. That's now going to be dadoed. It's going to be recessed for a inset panel to go in. I should have really clamped the stile to the bench, but and joints are going to be good when it's all pulled in tight together with our leashes. Until then, we still have to make our inset panels and our braces for strength. So The braces will be going from edge to edge, so from the side here and also across here. And we'll also need to put our insert panels in. So we need to cut some board down. And the board can slide in as well. Now, some people will be happy to put the board in without any braces, which is fine, but we're going to use some braces here. It gives it a nicer look as well. Easy way to cut the board nice and straight is with other board. So I've got the same ply, some 2 6mm bits of ply here. I've glued them together. Got another piece, 2 pieces of 6mm ply. Glued them together. Put them on here as a fence, as it were. And leave a piece of overhang on the back so that you can clamp that in place when you're ready. Yep, that's one. Line it up with your pencil marks. So with a straight edge, spirit level, or a plumb line, drop a plumb line down. The width of the actual roll we're using is 520 or 52 centimetres. So allow 2 centimetres. So we'll make this line at 500 so that we can run round the corner just in case, and we can cut that corner nicely, just in case the corner's running out. But I'm not doing that because I've actually set my line to just inside the width of the roll. So my line will straighten up my roll. And the reason I've done it is because even if this wall does drop back a slight bit, which I've checked anyway, and it doesn't, but if it did, it wouldn't make any odds because I'm going to be cladding this wall and bringing the thickness of this wall out. So it makes no odds for me. But for you, you might want to just wrap it around the corner and trim that off after. In our paste, this is our water in a clean bucket, clean water, cool water in a clean bucket. We've got our stirrer, and this is our paste. I'm using 4 litres of water because this is a heavily embossed wallpaper, so it's going to take a bit. So that will take the whole packet and should give me around about 5 rolls of wallpaper. If it was a lighter wallpaper, it'd go 6, 7, 8, etc. So stirring. Maybe not. So as we apply the dry paste into the water, we will stir, and we'll keep stirring, and eventually we'll leave this to settle for about 3 to 4 minutes and then stir again, the same as you would with plaster. Keep stirring, you don't want it lumpy, you don't want any lumps in here, so keep stirring. Now, unlike other wallpaper pastes and wallpaper, this Super Fresco, we're actually going to paste the wall and then put the paper to the wall, rather than paste the paper. And there we are, it's a very nice thick consistency for what we're doing. Hopefully that's not going to go rock hard with in the next half an hour, because we've got some wallpapering to do. Let's leave that to settle for a couple of minutes.
Yeah, so just squeeze out the paper, any air bubbles will disappear the next day, and looks pretty good. It's a good effort. And thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe if you can. Thanks, and have a look at the inside once it's finished.